lead here for the world champions, while JDG surprised us going into second and bringing out this game one. I'm excited to run it through in just a moment.
蒋文明树新风 FunPlus 冲冲冲
FunPlus 加油
As the Gyos come out, we enter Summoner's Rift, the semi-final here against JDG and FPX. Never before has the FunPlus Phoenix defeated JDG in the playoff environment. They're looking to get revenge on 2019 spring, where JDG made that miracle run into the grand final. And today we ask, is history going to repeat itself? As we welcome you to Summoner's Rift for game number 1.
Kanavi already getting access into the FPX jungle, gets a ward down to spot where Tien would start, and I think this is really crucial for Kanavi coming into this game. We've talked about Kanavi wanting to play towards topside, getting that Zoom snowball rolling. Well, this time around it can be a little bit more difficult. You don't have the same gank setup that we've seen from JDG's top laner in the past. Not the set, not the Ornn, something that can provide CC. So instead, I think Kanavi this time around will be trying to play down towards that bottom side. Okay. Work with Loken and Lumao to see if they can disrupt LWX. LWX is the main mid-game carry for FPX. So if they can shut down LWX, our JDG will be in a great spot.
See, that's interesting because I look at FPX and a lot of global fans again be tuning in because this is the time to be watching LPL to decide who will be the best team here in spring. And for FPX, a lot of people will remember that they were the 4 versus 2 diving team. They would look towards the bottom lane consistently, whether it's in the laning phase or outside of, to get LWX and Crisp a safe time.
A lot of that comes off of the pressure Doinby was able to create mid. FPX usually run the likes of this double TP composition, but when you're on this Kassadin, it's a lot more difficult for you to get those roams off. So it will be on Tien instead to make those early game plays happen.
Okay, well, he's up towards topside now, so we're going across multiple lanes looking at trading. Yagao took a bad trade through the mid lane, but he should be fine. He's got a refillable potion to take into that, as well as biscuits. Also note that here in the LPL, we've been seeing a lot more lethal tempo Corki, which has often led to the Manamune. You can already see with the Sapphire Crystal starting off.
Yeah, so we've seen a couple of different things. The Halo Blades has been one that started to rise in popularity. Great for these early game trades where you can get those 3 shots off super quickly. But the lethal tempo is great in these later game fights. You get so much more attack speed off of it. And as you said, still running towards that Manamune build. Still could go in towards the Sheen build if you would like to. There is the option there for you, Yagao. But I'd imagine when you're trying to get a lot more of these rockets off in the poke scenario that we talked about, the siege capabilities of JDG, the Manamune makes the most sense just to keep that mana topped up.
I like that you use the word late game when we always think of Corki as that late game carry, but with lethal tempo we've seen in fights, especially from the side of, I believe it was Knight on his own Corki who's picked it up himself. As we look towards Tien, he's just clearing up the bottom side now. Chris went and had a peek at the blue buff to make sure Kanavi wasn't invading early on, but Kanavi's doing his own blue up towards the top side, and both junglers on opposite sides of the map, now looking for the scuttle in return.
So we will be trading scuttles here. Tien won't be wanting to go towards that top side, especially with where Zoom is pushed in that lane. It'll be Kanavi dominated on the top side of the map at the moment. Yagao looking to get this early TP off though. We'll see if there it is. The tears coming through. So nice start. He's looking to stack that up as soon as possible. And as we talked about, that's where the rocket barrage is going to come in from Yagao.
Consistent damage threat here alongside the other 2 ADs. I noticed that Loken, yeah, he's going Comet. We're going to see the lethality, as you talked about in Draft, Dagda. And you also talked about the trade of Scuttlecrap. That does enable Kanavi to start walking up topside. But Tien is here first.
So this is more to try and get vision on Tien and make sure that Zoom can continue to play aggressive. Zoom will be able to proc these Grasp of the Undyings underneath the tower onto Gimgoon. A couple of shots of parlay every time Gimgoon tries to CS. But Gimgoon now moving across.
Gimgoon is at half health though. That's what you have to note here. Yagao moving up has the shove in midway.
JDG looking to get control of this topside jungle. I love this. They're as he said, Zoom is where they like to put their attention and making sure he can have that great top lane punch.
Expecting the first fight in the bottom lane, Death Sentence dodge, but Loken hits the piercing arrow. That's what matters here. LWX at half health and JDG winning out on trades bottom as well, while the top lane is just going to settle down.
So this is pretty big for Kanavi because those Krugs are the most experience on the map for a jungler. losing those over to Kanavi with his own Krug still available, Kanavi will start to slingshot ahead into the level 5 and then be able to fight Tien in an awful lot of situations, especially when Yagao will have push in mid. You can see Zoom is doing a great job to keep top in his favor as well. As I say that though, takes a not so happy trade for himself.
Definitely takes 2 to tango up in this top lane. Gimgoon falling behind in CS though, and Azum's GP we haven't seen in so long is just on another level. This is his best champion by far, and he pulls this out usually in dire playoff situations. To see it in game 1 is an absolute blessing here on the side of JDG.
I want to talk a little bit about JDG though, because when I was looking at the research for this team and, you know, how do I get these stats that can back up what I want to say about JDG, I found out they're a bit of an anomaly.
Yep.
Because what happens is they play super heavily towards this top side, but they have the fourth lowest Rift Tower control in the LPL. They actually have the second highest Dragon control in the LPL, but FPX have already started to steal that one away. You've got the push coming through from LWX and Crisp on the bottom side, so Tian is safe to move across to pick up this Dragon. And now you have to see a change and adaptation from JDG in this game to try and get the pressure that they create on the top side of the map to snowball into more objectives.
I think with JDG it's more about a feeling, right? I don't look towards stats for this team, I look towards how they play. Versus IG was a very good representation. Versus FPX during the season in the game they won was one of those as well, as the Mountain Dragon's going to go down to start off FPX, while Kanavi moving to top side. Doomby with a little bit of a check to see where that jungler is.
He did get spotted though. He hopped over the wall. Doinby thinks he's safe to push in here. There's the Rift Walk.
Yeah, well, it's going to be a bit of a limp if he gets slowed down. Lumao in the mid lane. He loves to roam this support. And once again, joining Kanavi here, but won't be able to connect on the level 6 Cassidy.
Yagao wasn't in lane, so just trying to see if they could burst out Doinby, but not having the damage to do so. Again, though, no objectives on the map right now, and a bit of a slower pace game than I expected to start things off.
But like coming back to the conversation, while we do have that time, for FPX as well, let's not forget, this is a World Championship roster of last year. It's still Gimgoon, Tian, Doomby, LWX, and Chris, the people that you remember destroying Europe. I'm sorry, I can't help but laugh at that. 3-0 yet again, and defining their name. The World Championship squad who have still finished top 3 in the regular season. So while we are talking a lot about JDG in this early game, don't forget FPX. We look towards them as this chaotic team that still pulls it all together.
And this is something that they've been messing about with in the spring split, is trying some of these later game carries for Doinby. And I'm liking that they're bringing it out in game number 1 here. Seeing if they can just hold off against JDG and have Doinby scale into this late game monster. Don't forget, Doinby is the big carry for this team. 30% of the team's damage rests on the mid lane.
And I mean, he's going all right in this mid lane for now, right? Against the Corki, the matchup going pretty much even at this point with a small CS lead. While we look at that 1k gold lead already building up for JDG through bottom lane, through jungle, and also through that top lane CS advantage for the Gangplank. So this is JDG setting up for that mosh in the mid game with accelerated lanes.
I will have to see if that mosh pit does come through. Because right now, I mean, I'd like to keep Zoom on a side lane. I want him to continue to bully out Gimgoon. Oh, hang on though, Lumao.
Okay, Lumao was roaming around with his jungle going for the invade, but now might be caught out. Exhausted down with those LWX. There's the cannon barrage here, but Rend is still available. LWX uses it early and has to get out while Kanavi now split. The Fate's call into LWX, or rather Loken. Crisp has to run away, so does that 80 carry. JDG are pretty much full health bar the support.
And now they can look to push in this bottom wave and try and get some of these turret plates in their favor. JDG are amazing at gaining advantages off of misplays or winning out in these skirmishes against the enemy team.
You can see there in that trade, doesn't feel like they had enough damage as well. Especially when Loken was sitting on the Serrated Dirk and now has the Umbral Glaive as his first item. In fact, pretty much first item of the game, alongside Yagal's now finished Man Immune. So, looking good once again for JDG. A lot burnt there for FPX's Kanavi. Now going to meet with Tien. Can't be stolen away. Kanavi hits 7 and walks out. Now with about a 20 CS lead.
And JDG have started to roam Loken and Lumao up towards this Rift Tower. They realize that, look, Dragon's already gone. We want to get the snowball rolling, especially with the composition that they have. Getting these early turrets is so favorable, allowing them to set up procedures, giving Zoom some respite on these side lanes because of the pressure the other 4 are creating. So Rift Herald started for JDG.
Plus package here as well for Yagao. You can see Tien doesn't want to go anywhere near that, nor does the rest of FPX. So both objectives picked up here in the form of the Dragon in the first Rift Herald. And again, a complimentary start towards JDG, while LWX and Chris towards that turret plating in the bottom side are only going to be picking up about 320 gold. Kanavi just taking everything from both his own jungle and also TN's.
And that's why Kanavi has been the Spring Split MVP. He is so dominant in controlling the early game.
Consistent, right?
Yeah, exactly. And it doesn't matter if it's playing through top side of the map where he's setting up Zoom, or in this different playstyle we've seen from as well, getting into the enemy jungle and disrupting everything that TN wants to do because he's behind in CS, behind in levels. You can see level 6 on this Lee Sin to the level 8 of Kanavi.
I mean, Caulfield's Warhammer picked up on the return here for TN, but Kanavi, we haven't seen him back for a bit. He's just clearing and clearing and clearing, taking everything at this point. So the compliments are rolling fast here for JDG. Also note that Zoom has his first item in the Trinity Force, with Dragon coming up in 30 seconds and Zoom's ulti on about 10 seconds left to cooldown.
If FPX try and set up for this Dragon, though, they will lose the ensuing fight.
Okay.
You've way too much poke coming through from Yigao, especially with that blue buff picked up, and also Loken, who has the Umbro Glaive completed. They'll just be free-firing onto everyone, and you don't have the best of engage tools on FPX. Gimgoon needs a flank, Doinby needs a flank, and Chris, with his flash down, can't flash hook or flash depth charge to guarantee something for FPX's side.
Feels like if one hook lands, in comes the arrow from Loken, and you gotta follow the rest of that up. Plus Kanavi, who now has Warriors versus TN with Caulfield's Warhammer. FPX is starting this. You can see in the top lane, Zoom preparing for the Cannon Barrage. Give you an STP as well.
Yeah, watch the poke, though. Chris trying to position forward, but JDG, no, not wanting to commit. I thought we might have been able to see the Cannon Barrage come through, then the poke start to get working through Yigao and Loken, but didn't want to try and position forward there.
There is a Cloud Soul for a Kassadin.
Oh, no.
Holy dear Lord. JDG will need to stop that one, and at least a tempo here from the Rift Herald can do something about the game. It's going to be a Dredge Line, ultimate use, a 3-man knockup. LWX is holding strong with his support. Faith Call used for the re-engage as TN now comes out with Cannon Barrage to stop the push. That was a bit of collateral damage as well. Doomby is now diving on top of Yigao. Has enough mana, but Yigao safe at the inner turret. Oh, things heating up here in this game one.
Bottom lane, though, is where we got to put our attention. JDG are looking to get this last turret down. Rift Herald gone, though. A lot of bulwark stacks built up in that turret, which is why it's so slow.
Loken's trying to poke them out to get the turret, but not on this wave. Kanavi sticking around. They really want this turret. They really want to accelerate, and FPX are going to let them.
They will get it, and this is a little bit of a taste of the poke that's to come. Loken being able to get onto TN, LWX, and Crisp, none of them particularly tanky, and the turret will fall off of the damage provided from this Varus.
Now a 3k gold lead, despite all we saw here in the mid lane and the trades back and forth.
I want to look at what the hell happened mid, though.
Oh, hell
Yigao just out of nowhere nearly dies to Doinby, and yeah, you've got the Rod of Ages completed for Doinby, but he's only on 2 to 3 stacks right now. This shouldn't be the time when Doinby's able to fight against this Corki.
Definitely a replay needed. He's going tier as well, so we get an ultra mega late scaling version of the Kassadin. Also note that, ladies and gentlemen, you should know Doomby by now. You should know that he builds Righteous Glory on pretty much all of his mid lane champions, Kassadin included. So expect to see that this game, when this Kassadin is going to be going all in and all out.
Saw it on the Twisted Fate as well in their last series.
That
We've seen it on the Rise. It's a bit of a fan favorite
played a lot
for
of
Doinby.
Rise in the EDG. Played 3 games of Rise, one of TF. Definitely got the version of Dark Technologies looking forward to for Doomby.
Again, though, let's look at how this game is starting to go. There's a 3,000 gold lead in favor of JDG. Off of those turrets, off of the farm that we're starting to see. Yep. He's come through in the top side of the map, and don't forget Gangplank as well will accelerate off of all the extra gold he gets from his passive. So Zoom, already a very big boy. The Triforce completed, working up towards the Essence Reaver. This bullying that's happening to Gimgoon that we haven't been able to focus on is starting to get a lot worse for the top lane.
I was just waiting to see that TP play again, Dagda from Zoom, as we look towards gold plating, and you can see GP with 320 of it. Zoom is now level 11, so the extra level of Cannon Barrage with Kanavi walking towards top side.
Can the back come through? It will be. Actually, he's going to stop it himself. So Kanavi's going to back away, but the thing that I want to highlight here is that as long as this top lane matchup is left in a vacuum, Zoom is going to continue to win out. And Tien wanted to get up here and try and help out in the early stages of the game, but Kanavi stealing away the Krogs, dictating the pace of this jungle matchup, has meant that FPX really haven't had the impact we expected from this early game well, not early game composition, but this early game focused team. And this is coming back to that Doinby lock-in of Cassidy in the mid lane. Because they've gone for a later focus, well, they're not able to have these dive potentials in the early stages.
Feels like he's being cheeky with it anyway. I don't think he cares that he's not the Cassidy to do, but he's going to go forward as he pokes his head towards the side of the lane. Note that he's up 20 CS, but as we just saw, JDG picked up the mid lane turret. Bit more gold in their back pocket. And Zoom as well, still pushing ever so fast in this top side, while Doinby now moving to a side lane with Yagao and threatening him as usual.
This is classic Cassidy. Stick him in a side lane, let him farm up, get the experience by himself. So it would be Gimgoon and Doinby trying to enact this split push for the time being. And eventually when Doinby hits critical mass, he'll join in the fight, try and disrupt the back line, and prevent this siege potential being set up by JDG.
Bit of trading back and forth. I want to pull up something you said earlier on. You expected a bit more blood here in this series already. It's 15 minutes. We don't have our first blood at the semi-final. But I came in expecting a lot more of this. Calmer play where team mechanics were going to come into question. Doinby stop it. Where I watched Top Esports and IG yesterday, and even they were a bit calmer than expected until we got to Game 2, Game 3, and the fights started coming out left, right, and center. So this is a very different semi-final. This is going to be a lot more about the team interactions as a unit, especially when we're coming towards the Cloud Dragon in 20 seconds, and FPX already have 2 in their back pocket.
It's FPX and JDG feeling each other out. It's because we haven't seen JDG with Zoom play against FPX yet. Neither team has actually figured out exactly how the other plays. However, though, I like what Tien is doing here. Trading over this dragon in the bottom side because they know, okay, JDG have to stop us from getting to Soul Point.
Sure.
But we'll just trade that for an objective on the top side and try and crack open some of these turrets for ourselves.
At least getting some of that gold back to even to get this cast into a later game that's not blown out of proportion by JDG's early gold lead. The 10% cooldown reduction now given over to a GP, the Varus. Think about Kanavi's ultimate as well, plus Lumao. So there is a benefit here as Kanavi sees Doinby, but they're just going to walk away.
And it's incredibly important that Loken can pick up some of the CDR and the ultimate because he's the main disengage alongside Lumao when Doinby's coming in, when Gimgoon's trying to come in on the flank.
Would you like to know what that says, Dagda? 11 CS a minute here at the 15-minute mark. Plus, he's 1,500 gold over Gimgoon. You can see it already by the level lead that we saw earlier in the lane, excuse me, but it's a big build for Zoom.
He's playing super smart in this top lane as well at the moment, realizing, look, Rift Herald has gone across. Chances are they want to make a play in the top side to get Gimgoon some gold back. So Doinby missing, Tian missing. I don't want to be in this top lane anymore. He backs right the way up.
Cannon Barrage going to be used here to clear out the wave. There's no objective that you're going to have to save it for, so they're still going to get rid of majority while Doinby sits here and he says, this gold's going to be mine. 300 in the back pocket of Cassidy, who's going to try and get the Rift Herald towards the inner.
But even though they didn't get the Rift Herald, JDG cracked open the bottom lane turret, they cracked open the mid lane turret, and now when Zoom does get back to this lane, he can look to put pressure onto that top side as well. So this is still JDG, even though we haven't had the scraps, pulling ahead further and further, slowly but surely.
Look really clean here in Game 1. It's a good sight here for JDG, and a very different feeling from what we saw from the 8th-seeded team in 2019 Spring that had Imp and Lumao as that bottom lane.
And it's very different to what we've seen from JDG with Zoom coming back into the roster. It's been Kanavi playing heavily towards top side to unlock Zoom on these big engaged champions like Ornn and Set and have these incredible fights in the mid lane where he's flashing in, where he's getting these massive Call of the Forge gods for Zoom, but that's not this. JDG instead playing this smart, slow, macro game, adding another factor to why JDG have looked so potent this spring split.
People are essentially getting a bit of the LCK semi-finals here in the LPL, but I also want to note that if you're talking about Zoom, remember, this squad hasn't dropped a single game in the regular season when Zoom was on it. They had 705 for a bit, JDG took a couple of losses, but Zoom comes back, the 6-series winning streak to finish off the regular season. And against FPX, who at some point as well, Gimgoon had that same win streak over Khan, who we haven't seen in a while, by the way. So both these top laners bring that strength to the roster. And here in this Game 1, it seems like Zoom so far is edging over Gimgoon, but we haven't seen any fighting. So it does feel like we get towards that first fight where definitions are made throughout that lane.
And this is where it gets so much fun, Hysterics, because what happens is everyone's flashes up, everyone's summoner spells are still available, and when that first fight happens, it is absolutely nutty to try and figure out how everyone is going to outplay each other. Because that's where the LPL specialty is, in those outplays. And when you've got the caliber of players in this roster, or in both these rosters, Doinby, LWX, Loken, Yagao, Zoom, Kanavi, I cannot wait to see just how explosive these teams can.
Because, I mean, people are absorbing a lot of resources here. Yagao has the Manamune upgraded now. The Muramana, excuse me, had a brain fart. As Trinity Force alongside it. Doinby all 10 stacks of the Rod of Ages, also getting close to the Seraph/Archangel staff.
And that's what I want to point out here, is that as this game is going later and there's not much fighting, well, Doinby's a big benefactor here. When he gets that level 16 mark, we know what Kassadins can do. Well, JDG, yes, they're getting at least some of this gold in their favor, but we haven't seen them accelerate it massively. Now with the Baron up, maybe they can look to do just that.
Holy crap, this is such a different game. It's 20 minutes, we got no kill. Yesterday was IG Top Esports, and then we come to this, which is a very different pace of play altogether. We're watching farming for a while. We're at 21 minutes, no blood. I feel like I'm in a different region.
I already know what Twitch chat is like as well. I can already see Twitch chat in my head. Just,
Don't fall
that's
asleep.
all that's happening right now.
Because to put it this way, though, the difference between the two regions, at least when we get towards fights, is that confidence in individuality, right? From every player across the roster. And we look towards these teams, how they're building up to this moment. Cloud Dragon, 30 seconds. You mentioned the Baron is up. At the very least, this fight is coming soon.
I feel a little bit like, though, I'm trying to show my friend this new movie, and I think it's hilarious, but he's not laughing, and I'm like, no, don't worry, it gets good real soon, I swear, just wait for the next part, it gets good.
Dude,
this feels like what I'm doing.
On that note, I showed my friends the Three Amigos, and they didn't laugh. That is a great Three Amigos with Steve Martin. It's a great, it's not a spaghetti western, but it's a really good movie. I recommend.
Me and Munchbuzz have actually got a list that we're creating now to watch in the off season. Yeah, you should come over. I think we've got a couple. What was he? Well, Munch wants to watch Lord of the Rings because he's a massive nerd. But
well, I want to watch Pirates of the Caribbean because here comes the Cannon Barrage.
Never mind, we're outie.
No. We don't fight here in the LPL. Doomby's going to split push a turret, and Kanavi's like, let's get 20% cooldown reduction on our.
We got a chuckle out of our friend at that part, but that was about the extent of that one. But towers are still going down, so Doinby again getting more gold facilitated into him. 10 stacks on the Rod of Ages. The Archangel staff has completed, not quite at the Seraph's Embrace, but still, this is Doinby very quickly accelerating towards that level 16. Now, of course, on the opposite side, we still have Zoom, who, of course, is another late-game carry. The reason I want to talk about Doinby a little bit more, though, is because it's the flank potential from this Kassadin is really going to hurt JDG. They need to have the vision control down to avoid these flank sides of Doinby.
So let's talk about that big fight, because we are setting up for the fight in front of Baron that everyone's kind of grouping towards. We are setting up for that one big fight that could just break the game and be done with it from there. Tell me how this works, because you've talked about Doinby a lot, his flank potential. We know what Mordekai's can do in a fight, as Chain's Corruption's going to land again. Is this finally a kill? Death Sentence coming through. I'm sorry, Dagda, maybe you don't have time. Yes, you do, because we don't fight here in the LPL. No, they're out.
Okay.
So tell me, bring me back and tell me how both of these teams are going to operate here moving into the late game.
So we talked already about JDG wanting to set up for these sieges. You got Yagao, Loken pushing in, Kanavi doing the good stuff with the wave clear, all that good jazz. But what FPX are trying to do is to gain vision control back on their own side of the jungle. It's why you can see a lot of those a little bit deeper wards on their side, so then they've got control, they can try and find these flanks and make JDG play a little bit slower, give more time over towards Doinby to get to that level 16 point. And if you've got a deep ward that JDG haven't found, a flank from either Gimgoon or Doinby could be disastrous for the JDG squad. Okay,
so we're looking towards those flanks. We know what Zoom's all about, setting up with the GP. I want to reiterate there, Doinby on the chase did burn the flash of Yagao. So if we're talking about this late game fight, that's not going to be up for another 3.5, 4 minutes. As it does seem to be the comparison here between Doinby and Yagao. Doinby with a bit of gold advantage here in this mid lane.
And that's what I wanted to draw your attention to, was we saw this early game lead starting to come up for JDG, but it's petered out at about the 4,000 mark. It's not going up, it's not going down, it's just staying as to where it is right now. And again, this is coming back to, well, they're finding it difficult to crack open these inner turrets. They haven't really been able to get vision control in their favor because they've got to worry about Crisp on a flank. Where the hell is Doinby? Is Gimgoon still in the side lane? So now JDG slowing this pace down, and FPX, again, playing towards this later stage, and that's where they want to play.
People are going to start thinking that LPL has lost its mind here if they see this game won.
No, that's just me.
They're globally going to be tuning in and being like, hang on, this ain't my LPL. It's Doomby in a side lane here against Zoom. That's his second round of 500 doubloons. So Zoom's going to get yet another upgrade. I have to point out, it's an Essence Reaver GP with Sterix Gauge now picked up. Zoom is going to one-shot LWX. Like, I have no doubt in my mind that if he gets the barrel set up, FPX is just gone.
But why one-shot LWX when you can one-shot the minion system?
Oh.
You know? You know?
Like
I'm
that.
just saying.
You go with package. Oh, Dredgeline comes close, but of course not. 1 minute 50 until the next Dragon. JDG have controlled them so far, and now we're finally seeing a push through the mid lane. 4 members strong. Doomby off on the side of a flank. They're moving into this choke. Lumao goes to the death sentence. Doomby dodges away. Chase corruption used under turret. It's Gimgoon, who's now getting poked down as well. Kanavi runs in. Collateral damage doesn't finish him off. The ultimate from the GP was close, but Gimgoon survives, or JDG used that pressure to break closer towards the base.
And it's this step-by-step process. JDG ever inching forward. Flash for flash, though. Crisp takes a lot of damage.
Getting close, aren't we? Flash for flash, as you mentioned, for the Dredgeliners. JDG still hold mid lane control, which means that Dragon is looking pretty good, while FPX going towards Baron River.
And FPX have a very quick Baron, so if JDG don't keep themselves in check here, might be in a bit of trouble.
Death sentence here is going to turn onto Lumao. Doomby is level 15, feeling confident on top of this fresh. Will we finally see blood? Doomby running away. Heal's going to be burnt as well. The poke to come through, and Loken is going to force the heal out of LWX.
We got summoner spells! We got summoner spells! We're getting closer!
We had 26 minutes without blood.
Let's go! Let's go! Summoner spells! That's the excitement you tune in for the LPL. Sure. Now, I think still, though, we got to look at the Baron that is going to be coming up. LWX incredibly quick. Gimgoon going to be doing a lot of work as well on that Baron if FPX do get the chance. And FPX are a team that is not afraid from trying to sneak these objectives, especially when you've got Doinby and Gimgoon, who can very quickly find these flanking scenarios if JDG have to go in blind. And that's very much the situation that they're in at the moment. Only one ward in the Baron pit for JDG right now, and that means it could be very difficult for them if FPX try to rush this.
Teleport's going to be used. That's exciting too. Going to get the home guard movement speed here from Doinby, who seems like FPX want to contest this Dragon. JG have vision control so far and a positioning around the side of this brush. It's going to be Doomby who starts it off.
So both these teams now trying to get to soul points. So this is where now we might see them go for it, but FPX not really in the, well, now in a lot better of a flanking position. So JDG trying to get that poke, but
getting forced off, goes in for the steal, not taken away here as Chris is going to start with a depth charge onto Lumao. FPX are grouping in around the pit. Doomby starts off with the Realm Warp and Kanavi gets out. Where is the death that I was promised here? As we go to soul point for JDG, I think we're just going to have full build before people start dying.
I mean, it's a gentleman's agreement right
what
now.
The heck?
No.
I feel like I've been absolutely scammed. You know, the IG Top Esports series yesterday.
I mean, I don't know. I don't understand. JDG, look, they're the ones that want to try and kite away. That's why you've got the Thresh to help out Loken in escaping. Yageo's got his Valkyrie. Kanavi, you could see, did a great job of escaping out of the pit. But that's it. JDG are looking to escape, and FPX, when they're not able to get these flanks, can't stop them from getting away.
I guarantee to our audience this will not happen again, because this is game one, as you said earlier. It is about feeling each other out and kind of getting into the momentum of the series. And so you give them one game and you say, okay, we're going to start reading our opponent better moving forward in the series. And this time around, JDG have read FPX pretty well. They are in the 5k gold lead at this point. They have control with Soul Point coming up, with Baron sitting there under their vision control.
I feel like I've sold them this car, though, that I've told them is super reliable, it works great, and they get 20 minutes from where the dealership and it's broken down with half a wheel gone off, the front is all gone, the exhaust fell off just as they left the park. Like, this is not what I expected coming into this series at all. These are some of the bloodiest teams in the LPL. I mean, look, Kanavi has the highest first blood rate participation. JDG have one of the highest first tower rates. This is everything that I expected to see coming into this game. And even on the opposite side for FPX, they have the second highest first blood rate. They have 73% win rate after first tower. This is where I was expecting to see aggro, but there's been nothing.
But I feel like we are going to be building up towards something. You see JDG towards the top side here in front of the Baron. Kanavi, who's almost flame horizoning Tien. The GP in Zoom, who's almost doing the same to Gimgoon. They're feeling pretty good. 17 is his level. Zoom is running up now. Ward's getting dropped on down. Again, JDG have control on this topside river.
So we'll have to see now if this will give the opportunity for FPX to find that flank that we were talking about. Doinby getting in as deep as possible. This is it, getting the control wards in place, seeing if he's been spotted out, trying to make sure that he can get into a position to get on towards Loken, stop Yagao from escaping, and chase them down with this level 16 Kassadin. That Rift Walk has an insanely low cooldown.
I mean, he's got 3 items versus the Corki. He's sitting on the Hex Drinker right now. You can see that Yagao is opting into that Infinity Edge next and just sitting on the Hex Drinker to give the MR.
And I know it sucks, but I kind of want to see JDG wait until that Infinity Edge is finished before they fight, because Yagao gets such a strong power spike off of that. But yeah, woo!
This has to be the longest game in LPL history without a kill.
Definitely.
For sure.
There is no way.
This definitely breaks the record. Chat, someone out there, go look it up as JDG. Oh my god, we're doing it.
What is, it's the PvE now taken to another level.
They're not here. They don't know.
Actually rush it down. Yeah, JDG just gets it.
I mean, Tian's coming in and it's gone. It is a PvE because Baron was taken without FPX being anywhere near it.
And now JDG can start to set up even better for this siege scenario, but mid lane turret trying to be answered by FPX.
I mean, can they find this? Everyone's coming in. Lumao looking for the hook. The Flay is there. Tian to secure, just being behind them. Mid lane turret does go down, but for the Baron, JDG win out again.
So this will, as we said, make JDG's split pushing really strong and siege really strong, but I haven't really seen a huge amount of anything coming out from both these squads. JDG have been doing a very good job of getting turrets. FPX have now answered. We're 4-4 at that point. So we're starting to see, look, 2 outer turrets remaining. This is where JDG are going to put their aggression to try and get these last structures down. And then when we get towards the inhibitor, we might see a bit of a scrap.
But I mean, we've seen what we talked about, right? Kanavi being the MVP jungler of the split over Tien has actually performed well. We saw earlier in the game towards the top side. Well. Yeah. That's what it said before, that we look towards the CS difference, and it's massive from Kanavi to Tien. Also note that Zoom's done the same. As we look in this bottom lane, he's just pushing. Level 18 GP. Gonna get the inner turret with the Baron buff. It is an 8k gold lead at 32 minutes without any kills going across. This is just both the best and worst League of Legends within one game.
Was it Sun Tzu's The Art of War that's like, don't fight your opponent if you don't have to? JDG have taken that to a new level. Now, though, maybe? No?
Okay. Doomby's coming over the wall. I mean, JDG might be caught out here. Sonic Wave is going to connect. Here comes the Realm Walk. Chains of Corruption. Doomby's in. Now, finally, the hook's going to come through as well. The Cannon Barrage on top. JDG behind the pit. Tien comes in as well. Doomby launched on, and the kill not secured just yet as Doomby goes gold. The Faith Call used on the back end as well. Gimgoon into the middle with the Death Realm on top of Kanavi. Flashes over the wall. The Cloud Soul secured here by LWX, and Gimgoon says enough is enough. The flash away from Kanavi. First blood secured on the back end. Onto Crisp though, and Zoom says, let me give you another. It's 2 kills for JDG.
And it's first blood at 33 minutes, which means you've got insanely long death timers. 50 seconds before Gimgoon comes back onto the map. Waves are pushing in favor of JDG. So yes, FPX got the Dragon, which puts them on sole point, but FPX or JDG even might be able to find something off the back of this.
I was looking for first blood. It must have been off of our screens with Corki finding it on Chris. So Yagao ends the misery here.
And this is where FPX, they're trying to fight, they're trying to use the advantages that they have, but a great hook from Lumao in the middle of that onto the Kassadin means that Doinby can't go aggressive, he can't get onto the squishier members of JDG, and they're able to turn, burst them, and force them out of the fight.
It's 2 kills with a 9k gold lead. This is insanity, but it complements JDG as to how clean they've really been. You saw Zoom in that last fight. He got set up. He put off his charges on his barrels. And suddenly this 4-item GP just burnt down FPX. So now in a very dire position here, even with Cloud Soul coming up. Looking towards Doomby, who's just running at them. That's what one Cloud will do. Now onto Yagao. Another? No, he can't take it. Yagao flashes away. Thank you for the Cannon Barrage from Zoom.
And again, super long death timers right now. This is not like the start when you see 3 kills go over. This is a 45 seconds before Doinby's back on the map. That's the key flanker that FPX need to defend against these sieges. So JDG now are grouping up in the mid. They want to crack the base.
On top of that, it's now a 10k gold lead just about here for JDG. Talk about grouping here. Even without the Baron buff, the strength is there. They're way fast approaching. Yagao waiting for the package. He's got his dog biscuits, but does he have the teleport available? Might not even need it because inhibitor's theirs.
TPing towards the top side, Yagao is going to push in this wave. They're going to crack open the tier 2. Try and push on towards that inhibitor turret as well, but 10 seconds until Doinby's up means JDG won't get it as easily as that mid lane inhibitor.
And we talked about flanks, we talked about FPX's setup. At this point, the game feels like it's over before it's even begun. We're going to have to see something amazing here from FPX as they look to defend their top turret as well. Kanavi's joining. TP behind.
It's Doinby.
Not spotted out. You talked about a flank dagger. Maybe we get to see it. Lumau's going in and he's low. Doinby behind him. Level 17 Cassidon has the ulti, but he's ducked away here. As JDG are trying to get away, but Lumau will die. More blood is good here. Tien jumps in. Doinby jumps out. FPX are not with this Cassidon just yet. So JDG will lose their first death of the game and walk away.
I wasn't sure if they were going to try and keep FPX here. You can see that mid lane turret was pushing in, but it's too dangerous after losing Lumau. That's their only real form of hard engagement after, or hard disengage even, after Loken's Chains of Corruption are down. So they're not feeling comfortable enough to have Doinby off on the flank with Gimgoon chasing them and Crisp.
36 minutes, 4 kills. Again, a quick reminder. Cloud Soul now, whoever gets the next dragon will not only pick up the Cloud Soul for themselves, which if it's JDG, that's 40% with the Cloud Soul on someone like the Viruses. Will stop because this was the one-on-one that turned into a thank you, GP.
And I expected Yagao to be able to turn around that much burst damage onto Doinby when he joined in this fight, but never actually really came out. Wasn't able to lock down Doinby long enough to get these auto attacks and the Triforce into Infinity Edge procs, but just even the pressure Doinby exerts is enough to force JDG back there, which means the rest of FPX can kill Lumau.
Oh dear lord, Zoom is full build. Dagda, Zoom is full build. This GP's tanky as well. Adaptive Helm to finish off, and against Doinby and Gimgoon, they will do nothing to this man. Like, the build-up of similar damage and the similar spell is such a good itemization.
The thing here, though, is that when we look towards the likes of a 1-3-1, FPX will win out because Doinby against Yagao will go in favor of Doinby at this stage. Even though we got one trade that, yes, Doinby won, now that Doinby's hit level 18, is almost full build himself, but JDG here starting up the Baron. There's the TP.
TP loves when you run into him as the death sentence comes through. The Fate Call used to save his life, but now LWX is the target. The Cannon Rush in the middle as well. But Yagao has been cornered away in the Death Realm. Gimgoon's got him as the AoE start to come through. Gimgoon and Doinby have gone golden. But in the nick of time, Doinby has found himself into this fight. 4 versus 4. Bars are low. Yagao versus Chris. FPX won that.
JDG weren't able to kite back in the manner that they wanted. You say FPX won it, but both teams lost one. JDG restarting up this Baron.
But Doinby has Flash. It's a Cassidon at level 18. FPX are going to secure Cloud Soul here. They're low. Doinby poking his head in. Baron will be secured and Chains of Corruption to zone away versus the Cloud Soul for FPX.
So FPX look to trade the Cloud Soul because Gimgoon has to back to deal with the super creeps that were in the base. So it'll be Baron for the Cloud Soul, and as you talked about, Doinby's going to be very happy to have picked up that Cloud Soul. But watch here, Yagao trying to back off with the depth charge on him. Doinby cuts off the retreat path, which is why JDG lose their mid laner. But the problem is, you've lost the support for FPX in the river, and once JDG start to kite back, you're running into the likes of Zoom barrels, you're running into poke from Loken, Kanavi constantly DPSing as well, so FPX rightfully back away because they don't have any way to follow up onto JDG with Crisp dead.
Zoom has 417 CS.
I know, this is ridiculous.
Holy, at 39 minutes, that ain't bad, huh? That ain't bad at all. As we reset in this game, Cloud Soul and the Baron was the comparison before. JDG holding that Baron, but not really on the map right now. Doinby now with 20% cooldown reduction on top of already the... Is he maxed out? He's 30%. What is he there? Can we see? The screen is very small. We can't see. But the assumption at this point is 50%. Plus the movement speed he gets with his ulti. Gonna come in handy. He's now looking for that flank again. Oh my god.
Yeah,
Holy
he's gonna
moly.
be so fast.
This is a talent.
And there we go. This is him cutting off the retreat path of JDG
And
again.
Chris finds a good engage onto Loken. The 80 carry is the target. Doolby jumps on him. For FPX, this fight was winnable until Doolby has to go gold. He's been chunked out here. JDG have full health bars. They're running into FPX. No worries, because this GP can't die and because they couldn't kill Loken. That seems to be it. A drawn-out game where JDG never really lost control.
They were in control from start to finish, slow but deadly, taking out these turrets, amassing their lead, and now they get what they want.
All Doolby can do is try and stop this one, but Yigal's big as well. 5-1 and 3 to finish off. And what a peculiar game to start, but a dominant one from JDG.
It wasn't what we expected coming in.